The Detroit Lions hit a brutal post-draft reality check, where our entire championship window completely hinges on fixing a half-baked defensive front. We're breaking down immediate steps like chasing Jadeveon Clowney, sniffing around T.J. Slayton, and the insane financial math behind that massive T.J. Watt trade proposal from Pittsburgh. But that thumbnail's 100% real, because the Technical League reveals an operational blueprint for a 5-time Pro Bowler who dragged down 10 sacks last year while playing through sheer pain. Before we continue, may I ask for your support? If you like what we're sharing, just take a second to hit that like button. It really helps us. Thank you. Detroit dropped a 2026 second-round pick on the edge, bringing in Michigan's Derek Moore. The plan is for him to start opposite Aiden Hutchinson. But Vito Chirco over at SI.com is banging the drum that Moore, even with DJ Wanham coming in, isn't enough to survive a brutal 17-game gauntlet. You need absolute dogs out there. Chirco threw out heavy veteran names that make sense. Joey Bosa, Cameron Jordan, Jadeveon Clowney. These guys are proven killers who can eat turf and stabilize the whole depth chart. Out of all those names, Jadeveon Clowney is holding the wildest resume. We're looking at a 12-year vet with 66.5 career sacks. Look at what he just did in Dallas. The Cowboys' defense was a total mess, but Clowney's pass rush juice is still 100% real. The guy posted an 80.6 PFF pass rush grade and stacked up 40 total pressures. He's hit a pass rush win rate of at least 14.9% every single year since 2023. The former #1 overall pick hasn't lost that elite core. I'll take a grizzled veteran who wins 15% of his reps over a young guy who disappears for weeks at a time. The numbers don't lie, and Clowney's still got the heavy hands. Bradley Locker from Pro Football Focus is pointing straight at the Carolina Panthers. Even after the Panthers grabbed Jalen Phillips, they're still sniffing around for more edge help. If Brad Holmes wants this done, he's going to have to fight for it. Christian Booher at SI.com is pointing dead center at the interior. He's saying the nose tackle spot is our real glaring hole. Tyleik Williams can definitely line up there, but Booher tossed out Cincinnati's T.J. Slayton as a guy we should be calling. Honestly, I get it. You get gashed up the middle and your edge rushers don't even matter. But there's a monster trade scenario getting real loud around the league, and it's the kind of move that could land Detroit one of the most terrifying defenders in the entire NFL. The Pittsburgh Steelers quietly built up one of the nastiest, most complete defensive units in the entire NFL. With Mike McCarthy taking over as the head coach and a totally rebuilt offensive line coming out of the 2026 draft, Pittsburgh is staring down a massive fork in the road with their franchise pass rusher. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler just dropped the bomb that front offices around the league are already buzzing about a potential Watt trade. T.J. Watt turns 32 this October, and he's holding a guaranteed $32 million in both 2026 and 2027. Those are cold, hard numbers. Fowler making it clear that other teams see Pittsburgh actually considering this is a huge deal. But when the math gets this ugly, and a team sitting in a winning window like Detroit is ready to toss a first-round pick to fix the problem, the whole game changes. Let's talk about the real damage. Watt's carrying a monstrous $42 million cap hit with a gut punch of $94 million in dead money for 2026. But it's actually something they can swallow purely because Pittsburgh isn't burning top-tier money on the quarterback position. But here's the number you really need to watch. In 2027, that dead cap obligation drops down to just $52 million. Ripping the Band-Aid off today and taking the cap hit today while the rest of the roster is young and cheap is way smarter than waiting a year and dealing with it when the math gets tighter. So here's the actual deal being thrown around. Pittsburgh Steelers get a 2027 first-round pick. Detroit Lions get edge T.J. Watt. I'd drive that pick to Pittsburgh myself. You give up a future unknown for a guy who instantly makes you a Super Bowl favorite. It's a no-brainer. Then you've got Derek Harmon, their 2025 first-round pick, and we can't forget Keanu Benton. He's 6'2", 300 pounds, and his ability to crush the pocket and hunt quarterbacks in heavy traffic is top tier. The absolute gut punch here is that the Steelers can survive his $94 million dead cap hit right now, and by 2027, that penalty drops to just $52 million. When you match that insane financial reality with a Detroit Lions team absolutely desperate for a game wrecker to save their defense, you've got the perfect storm. Even if the Watt deal falls through, Brad Holmes still has work to do. Now that the 2026 NFL Draft's officially in the rearview, Holmes is turning his full attention toward the veteran free agent market. Holmes handled the draft like a true professional. Moving Sewell back to the left side is a massive win, but we can't expect these rookies to carry the entire load if we're chasing a ring. So here are the seasoned veterans the Lions absolutely need to target before training camp kicks off. Cameron Jordan turns 37 this summer. In his final year grinding for New Orleans, the guy still went out there and bagged 10.5 sacks. That adds to a legendary 15-season career where he's racked up 763 tackles, 132 sacks, 17 forced fumbles, and 12 fumble recoveries. His PFF overall grade came in at a rock-solid 76.0, which ranked him 24th out of 115 qualified edge defenders. He also piled up 36 pressures. Setting up a smart rotational timeshare with the rookie Derek Moore would let Jordan completely wreck games. Plus, Jordan and Dan Campbell spent serious time together on the coaching staff under Sean Payton down in New Orleans. Calais Campbell went out and put up a 72.2 PFF overall grade in 2025, which ranked him 26th out of 134 qualified interior defensive linemen. His pass rush grade logged in at 65.1, while his run defense score hit a rock-solid 69.2, ranking 16th overall. During his recent stretch with the Arizona Cardinals, he finished the year with 35 tackles, 6.5 sacks, and 9 quarterback hits. His 2024 season was flat-out unbelievable. He earned an elite 82.3 PFF overall grade, which was the 7th best mark among all qualified defensive tackles, and a run defense score of 85.9 that led the entire position. Playing right next to Aleem McNeil, he'd instantly bring structural stability. Our run defense was a total joke at times last season. Bringing in a massive, heavy-handed monster like Campbell fixes that problem on day one. Joel Bitonio would be a massive, instantaneous upgrade for our line. The longtime Cleveland Browns guard is currently sitting out there as an unrestricted free agent. The man is a 2-time first-team All-Pro and a 7-time Pro Bowler. Back in 2025, Bitonio fought his way to a 70.7 PFF overall grade, ranking 23rd out of 81 qualified guards, while swallowing up 1,081 heavy offensive snaps. His pass blocking grade was elite, landing at 75.7, which was the 8th best mark in football. Signing Bitonio kills the question mark at left guard immediately and permanently. 8th best pass blocker in the entire league while playing over 1,000 snaps. That's not just good, that's elite protection for Jared Goff. Deebo Samuel. In 2025, Deebo hauled in 72 passes for 727 yards and 5 touchdowns through the air, while adding 75 yards and another score on the ground across 17 carries. On top of that, he fielded 15 kickoffs for 452 return yards, including a monster 69-yard breakout return. His real value today is in the intermediate passing game, taking a ton of the heat off young Isaac Tesla alongside Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jamison Williams. Trevon Diggs. Our cornerback room with DJ Reed, Terrion Arnold, and Roger McCreary is getting thin. Diggs spent the 2025 season over in Green Bay, and frankly, his numbers were pretty ugly. His PFF overall grade bottomed out at a 59.8, which ranked him 68th out of 114 qualified corners. His coverage grade hit 65.9, putting him 45th, while his run defense score was a total train wreck at 44.5, landing him 99th. Opposing quarterbacks put up a ridiculous 157.2 passer rating when targeting him. But Diggs is only 28, and the 2 entire seasons right before he went to Green Bay were completely wiped out by injuries. Taking a calculated bet on a 28-year-old ballhawk finding his old form is a move you have to make. But forget the depth chart for a second, because there's a wild twist coming. Reports are starting to leak out around one of the most disruptive pass rushers in the league. We all heard the noise earlier this offseason. Detroit was trying to land Las Vegas Raiders pass rusher Maxx Crosby. But then, out of nowhere, the Raiders and the Baltimore Ravens hammered out a massive trade agreement. But the Ravens took one look at the results of Crosby's physical, we're talking about his meniscus surgery, and completely bailed on the deal. That total collapse leaves Crosby stuck in Vegas and leaves Detroit still desperately hunting. Albert Breer over at SI.com is painting a very real picture of how Crosby gets put right back on the open market. Breer is calling it right now. The Raiders and Crosby are almost definitely going to start the 2026 season together. At the same time, he acknowledged that a blockbuster move at the November trade deadline is absolutely still on the table. Here's exactly how Breer sees it playing out. 9 games deep into the regular season, Crosby's out there destroying tackles, but Las Vegas is sitting in the gutter at 1-8. Under those conditions, the Raiders wouldn't even have to pick up the phone. And with everyone knowing how deep the 2027 draft class is, throwing a future first-round pick at Vegas might finally give them a real reason to move their star edge rusher. 1-8 for the Raiders isn't just a hypothetical, it's a very real possibility. And if they're drowning, they'll sell their best asset for a life raft of draft picks. We need to be the ones throwing it. Vito Chirco from SI.com didn't pull any punches. Pursuing Crosby at all costs sends the clearest possible signal of genuine championship commitment from Detroit's front office. Crosby is a 5-time Pro Bowler who just dragged down 10 sacks last year in Las Vegas. Slapping Hutchinson and Crosby on the same defensive line meaningfully elevates the line's standing as a Super Bowl contender. If Brad Holmes wants to rip open this championship window and guarantee a ring, he has to land a true, undeniable game wrecker. If Maxx Crosby becomes available again, Detroit better be the absolute first in line to answer the call. If you want this team to stop playing it safe, stop hoping a rookie can save the day and finally go for the absolute jugular in 2026, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're building a community that demands championships, not just wildcard appearances.